her ultimate when it was needed.
Going 1-for-1 there, but Kennen probably doing more damage. Just removes the tankiness that Navi had. They're going to have to
Now what
back off here a
happened
little
was
bit.
Morgana used... Kennen went in beautifully. Kennen went in perfect. And then Morgana tried to follow up, but she couldn't because she was silenced by Kennen, by Soraka. And they're really jumping on Corki. Corki Valkyrieing out. Kog'Maw one more hit on Morgana, and Morgana uses Hourglass right now, and it's going to go down. Getting caught out of position by Kog'Maw with red buff. Morgana tried to initiate the prior battle to that, but then she did not use Spell Shield, and then got silenced by Soraka from the side, and that stopped her from using ultimate for 2.5 seconds, so that's really brutal. She cannot join in there for a very long time. Which basically, again, was not a 5-on-5 engage, how they should be fighting, with Kennen and Morgana ults stacked on top of each other.
Yeah, I don't know why they chose to go after the turret there. And they knew they were going to get a fight from it. Navi wasn't going to try to Baron and just give up the middle of their lane, especially not with Mundo down, because they didn't have Smite and they didn't have their tankiest character who should be taking the damage from Baron. So all they were doing was really trying to bait into a fight there, but even with Morgana landing the binding just like they wanted to, you knew Aurelia was going to go straight for Corki, and you knew they had a lot of damage to shred you quickly. It just didn't seem to make a whole lot of sense there.
Alistar with the Faith Check, pops the late ultimate, melts immediately through Aurelia's true damage and everything else. And that'll most likely be a free Baron for Navi, but they're just baiting it. And Navi will not fall for it.
Nope, because they're going to have to try to come in and find some way to initiate here. Kennen can initiate, but he's going to melt quickly.
Morgana finally uses Hourglass, Black Shield now. The double Hourglass come out. Everybody melts. Everybody melts. Perfect.
Oh, wow.
Perfect execution. This is exactly how it should have been done. And Kennen aggro's Baron and is going to fall to it. Oh, what? Oh, no, Kennen. That could have been the free Baron.
Oh, that almost evened it, too. But it looks like Gragas probably going to get out there. Yeah. So not going to be quite able to take Baron with this, but that was impressive. Unfortunately, Kennen died to Baron there. Otherwise, as you said, that pretty much would have been a free Baron.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. Because he does have Spellvamp, so he could have been able to tank it for just a bit longer than usual. And with Corki's true damage and shredding damage, that could have been the Baron. And now Corki gonna go for the blue seal. Very well played by him. Gonna remove that from Gragas, make sure that he doesn't have it. They're gonna time that right now. In 5 minutes from now, their blue's gonna come up, and he's gonna go ahead and take Dragon for his team right now. That's gonna be very, very nice. This will surely put him back into a manageable position, but it's still gonna be an upward battle.
Yeah, they're down 2k at this point. Which it just shows how well they've been CSing and controlling Baron and everything, because they're down 7 kills, but only 2,000 gold. Really, they just have to be careful that they don't allow Navi to get a Baron or to really catch them out in this fight. You can see there, as you said, when they fight correctly, when they initiate the way their comp is designed, they're hard to beat. I mean, that was incredible damage.
Yeah, exactly. And now Aurelia has a Guardian Angel, so she's going to be looking to survive through that damage and then go through another spell sequence and basically try to kill everything twice. Corki now has double buffs though. This is going to be a battle that AAA wants to engage. Corki's red potted and has double buffs. Now AAA had lost their oracles, so they don't have any vision in here. They're really going to jump on Alistar, and she just gets comboed away. So no oracles on AAA. It's going to make this engage much, much more difficult.
Yeah, they're pretty much going to have to go in blind.
Yeah, and going in blind will not work. Not against Soraka Morgana. Not against Soraka Gragas. Meanwhile, Kennen just walking all over the wards placed by Navi. AAA definitely wants to engage this. They feel very confident after that last battle.
Yeah, the problem is just, again, as you said, no oracles. They're going to be going in blind, and there's wards all over the place from
Morgana's
Navi.
shopping right now. She's going to have death cap. so she's gonna have much more damage.
And I will bet, let's take a look at Leona here. Oh, I was going to say I'll bet N-rated went back to get an Oracles, but does not appear to be the case.
Oh, Gragas
wow.
engaged. Oh, and headbutt pull actually almost.
Oh, he goes down. Great final tick on the ult there. They're chasing onto Alistar. Now Alistar in trouble, even with the ult up. He's got the spell shield as well from Morgana, but goes down. Incredible chase by Na'Vi there. This should give them Baron. They may run into Kennen on the way. He'll be in trouble. And, yeah, Soaz has got to back off here. There's nothing they can do to stop it at this point. You're looking at another 3-on-5 engage, but this time they'd be doing it without Alistar, who they had last time. I don't see them able to stop this Baron push.
Oh my god, and then Alistar had actually tried to save his own hide. Headbutts Aurelia right next to Corki once more. They gotta fight this. They have to go for this. It's the only hope. Baron's down, and they're opting not to go for it.
Wow.
I guess they feel that they can defend properly on another 5-on-5 engage at their base, so we'll see for that.
I mean, that's pretty much got to be what they're hoping for at this point. Since they did give up the Baron there, they just have to assume that they are going to get a fight under a tower or be able to at least defend until Baron runs out. But this late in the game, Navi's going to be really comfortable pushing with that Baron buff.
Yeah, and they managed to take the blue buff now. I mean, not only is Aurelia the problem, she's a huge problem in this, and the Gragas doing massive poke and displacement. Kog'Maw sitting at 6 kills. 6-kill Kog'Maw right now, 6-1. That is not something that you want to face, and he has enough money for an Infinity Edge, for a Last Whisper, or a QSS, so let's see what he chooses to go for. Last Whisper.
So going to shred that armor, which is good because 2 of the APs have Zhonya, so there's a good amount of armor on everybody. We're going to see a big jump in his damage.
Yeah, I mean, his survivability is still the same, but he does have Soraka next to him with a heal. I just don't know if AAA can still fight this. I think they can, but if they choose to engage on Na'Vi while they still have Baron, they will most definitely lose. Or at least they'll lose that battle.
And again, you've been talking about it all game. Against All Authority's problem is they have a great team-fighting team, and they can't seem to put together a 5-on-5 team fight. You know, Soaz wasn't in that last fight, and it's not. This is one of those games where if they do lose here, Na'Vi played very well, not to take anything away from them, but a lot of Against All Authority's problems were, I want to say, internal on this one. They weren't setting up fights correctly. Na'Vi wasn't doing anything to force them not to all be together. They were just sitting around Baron waiting. But they got into a fight while Soaz was gone, and it just did not work out for them. Oh, jumping onto Leenock here. Could be taking some damage. It is Alistar, so the ult will come out.
The Black Shield saves Alistar from Gragas' entirety of burst damage. So that was a really close call from Alistar. Going in through the non-safe way. If you want to be safe, you should have gone through the backside. And now this will most likely be an inhibitor for Na'Vi, because now Alistar doesn't have his ultimate to initiate properly with.
Yeah, I mean, Alistar without ult, that was really the thing there. Even though they weren't able to pick up a kill, they did enough poke damage that they, if nothing else, secured themselves that tower, and possibly this tower as well. You know, with Baron buff, the poke is just not as scary from Against All Authority, because that increased regen is going to bring them back in very quickly.
Yeah, and even then, though, their poke is very minimal. Morgana, not really considered a poke hero, but even so, though, Soraka is basically the counter to all of that. And they're gonna engage on this. Leona misses her dash. Mundo lands a clip on Morgana while she's silenced. Gonna take quite a bit of damage through the Soraka silence. Mundo tanking tower quite a bit, and that Mundo got really cocky.
Oh yeah, good job there. That was a great response. There's the Shirelias.
The double Argos comes out.
Zhonya's, my mistake.
Corki just wrecking havoc, and then they managed to pick up every kill here.
Oh, wow. Good
Oh,
job by Aurelia coming back out of the Guardian Angel there and going in and picking up a kill. It was Leona, not the optimal person to take down, but at this point you'll take what you can get. Very, very good fight from Against All Authority there. It looked like they had pretty much lost it at this point, but that it goes a long way to pulling them back into this game.
and Alistar actually saved Aurelia. I think he thought that Aurelia would jump onto Corki and one-shot him. So then that's why he headbutted her out of tower range. Otherwise, I think Corki could have probably killed her in 2 hits.
And yes, Sand begging for Aurelia to come back and just do Dragon, but now Aurelia in trouble. Corki is on top of him. There's the speed boost, but still probably not going to be able to get out of there. Oh, goes down. Great chase by Yellow Star. And another, man, now they're going to lose Dragon as well. That is just unfortunate. Na'Vi could not really afford that. They are letting, we're looking at a 4K difference now. They are letting Against All Authority back into this game.
Out of 5 hits, he got a phase proc on the last one. That really helped him out because since he got a phase proc on the last one, that's when Soraka activated Shurelia's. So Shurelia's movement speed boost is not going to be that great since Aurelia got slowed. So then you do the percentage increase of her slowed movement speed, so then she's not going to be moving nearly as fast as she normally would be. So then Corki managed to catch up to her quite easily after that, allowing them to pick up the kill on her. But now Kog'Maw sitting at 3 items and will most likely reach 4 in no time. That's going to be a problem, and it still is.
Awesome. Alright, well, let's see what we can get here. I really think Navi's got to be careful, because now they're kind of at that point where they're fighting really compressed around Against All Authority's base. If they hit, if they have what happened last time, they hit all 3 of the initiates all at once, they're going to drop way too quickly. When they had Baron buff, taking poke and stuff like that wasn't the end of the world, but now it just makes those initiates even stronger. They lost Dragon, they've got to be really careful about how they take this.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Alistar's build right now is something that I've been kind of shocked about. I don't know if you've noticed it, but he's actually has a Shurelia's, Berserker Greaves, a Heart of Gold, and then AP.
A Blasting Wand and a Lich Bane. That is an interesting build. It seems to be working for him. It's hard to argue with success, but that is not what I'm used to seeing on a Jungle Alistar.
I wouldn't say working so well for him since he's actually 1 and 3 right now, but it's very questionable. If he wants to go DPS Alistar, he could have opted for Trinity Force or Yomu's or AP or something else.
Trinity Force is what I'm a lot more used to seeing on Jungle Alistars, and Lich Bane, not a horrible choice.
And now Corki picks up a Negatron Cloak, trying to dissipate the damage dealt out by Gragas. A little bit of the Aurelia damage, but damage against Aurelia is mostly purely physical and true damage. The only
You gotta be
magic
careful
damage
here.
is
Gragas has that displacement if they start a fight. But the quick lightning rush from Kennen, very smart there. They are able to get back out.
What's going to happen is as soon as Morgana uses her black shield, if she's forced to use it, that's when Na'Vi should engage on her. Once the shield's on cooldown, that means everybody else is going to take the CC exactly as it's intended to be taken, and that is a perfect time to strike. And Mundo actually has a double giant spell. Pretty weird. Maybe a Sunfire and a Warmogs. But then again, so does Gragas. But that'll most likely be a Rylai's Crystal Scepter, so that's more acceptable, I'd say.
Yeah, that'll add some nice utility to Gragas. The slow on his poke can help if they end up having to engage. Heading towards Baron, interesting choice there. There's a ward, so they've been spotted. But it seems like they want to position for this fight again. They really want this fight around Baron. And it went well for them last time. They actually have the wards, and there's no oracles to see them on Against All Authority, so they know exactly how they're coming in here. Yona
Now
gets in,
Alistar
gets
could have
that stun
actually
off.
engaged on Irelia right there, and Irelia's Guardian Angel just popped up, so this is the perfect time for Navi to engage. And they're actually choosing not to go for it.
As I say, not quite able to get the engage off there. Staying dangerously close, though. Oh, wow, lots of damage onto Alistar. He is in trouble here. Alistar goes down. N-Rated is in there. He's going to fall. Kennen gets into the back of the team. Wow, the double ults go in, but everybody else has died. So even if this works out for them, they've got the rest of the team to deal with. And there is the ace with a triple kill from Kog'Maw and a double kill from Mundo. That was impressive. This should lead to a Baron. And possibly a tower as well, depending on how quickly they can take it down.
Way too greedy from Morgana Kennen. There, I gotta say, it doesn't seem like they're focusing well enough, because what happened was Kennen and Morgana flashed forward to try and pick off Kog'Maw and Gragas by themselves, and then they completely forgot that their main source of damage is not them. Their main source of damage is Corki. They're just CC bots, basically. And then Corki just got jumped on by Mundo and Irelia and couldn't do anything. He just got two-shot by those two.
Yep, and they'll take the inhibitor here as well. The problem is they just got way too split. Alistar got burst way too quickly, so when Kennen and Morgana went through to get that CC up, and they did a decent job getting it off on the right people. But yeah, as you said, Corki was then too far behind. With Alistar dead, there wasn't nearly enough protection. And I mean, yeah, they did fine where they were, but the rest of the team just melted around them.
They have a good team comp, but it's just lacking execution at this point. That's basically it. They're lacking the positioning and mentality to do so. They have to stick as a group. They can never split up. They have to be within basically flash range of each other at all times.
Yeah, it's a very impressive play. I mean, not to take anything away from Navi here, but when we did see the initiate go correctly from AAA, they destroyed Navi. I mean, they took them down incredibly quickly. The problem is, if they only win 1 out of every 5 or 6 team fights, it's not going to work for them. Mundo's got a Warmogs now. Everybody is better built on Navi. There's going to get harder and harder for them to win team fights, even initiating perfectly. They can't afford to be trading like they are right now.
Yeah, and like their team comp is based around fighting on a 5v5 engage, which means that no matter what, they should never be chasing anybody out, because they don't have an assassin. They have a 5-on-5 engage. So if Kog'Maw chooses to stand back and auto attack, they just have to deal with that. They can't be going blind for him and ignoring the rest of the team. The whole goal is to kill the rest of the team, no matter who it is. They just have to kill somebody. If Kog'Maw is not one of those persons, then fine. That's basically what they have to deal with. And it was also somewhat of a poor engage by Alistar. He got focused down and did not use ultimate early enough. And now Navi is looking to push down bottom tower, which is already worn down from the previous fight about 10 minutes ago. They should be getting this tower relatively quickly. Morgana down to half health. And they have Baron and Soraka, so they can go at this for days. Alistar initiates, Leona misses. They're focusing Mundo. They land the binding on Mundo. They're really going for Kog'Maw. Morgana lands the binding, but actually does not hit it on Kog'Maw. And you realize GA just pops up. She's still alive. Well and breathing.
Yeah, and Kog'Maw are going to tear these turrets down way too quickly. Against All Authority does not have any way to stop them here. They'll get in a little bit of CC, but this is game.
Not mad just to pick up Mundo. But game 2, orderly fashion, Navi takes it 2-0, advances to the next round.
Very good. So another 2-0 here, and very, very impressive showing from Navi. They seem, I believe they're in the finals of the TSM tournament, so I guess they've been doing very, very well recently. Good to see. They're a good team, mix of players that we've seen on some other teams, but this was a great showing today. Against All Authority, they're a force to be reckoned with, and to have Navi come in and play like they did really says a lot about